Hello everybody, it's Chris Sims from ComicsAlliance.com, and this is Here's the Thing. For this week's show, I am joined by a very special guest. I have Chad Bowers, who is my co-writer on Downset Fight, the new graphic novel from Oni Press, as well as Subatomic Party Girls, the digital series from Monkey Brain. We work together a lot, and we just got back from the Columbia Comics and Toy Show, which was a large, mostly clean room full of action figures.
It's in a Shriners Temple.
It's in a Jamil Temple.
Yeah.
I could have bought a Super Nintendo for $100.
Yep.
I did buy 2 Power Rangers action figures that I ended up giving to children because I realized after I bought them, what am I doing? What'd you get, Chad?
I bought a nice G2 Generation 2 Megatron, who is a day-glow green tank. I think Chris described him as
neon green and purple.
Yeah, neon green and purple, and said that he was probably hiding out in a rave.
Still makes more sense than being a gun. Still makes more sense than being a gun.
It does make more sense than being a gun.
Now, if you're a comics fan and you're a toy fan, then you know that comics and toys have influenced each other and come together and produced a lot of comics over the years. Really starting in the late 70s and the early 80s with Transformers, G.I. Joe, ROM Space Knight. Those are kind of the big three.
Yeah, a lot of them, like Crystar. There's all kinds of stuff, too.
US-1 and Team America.
US-1 less so, because it never actually really became like a real, major thing.
Yeah, but I like it.
But it's amazing, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a remote control truck.
Yep.
And to do the comic, the premise of the comic is that there's a trucker who can control his truck psychically because he has a metal plate in his head. It's one of the best comics.
Oh, it's great.
It ran for 12 issues. He went to space at the end of it. Spoiler warning. But we found some really interesting stuff at the show that I wanted to talk about. In addition to your G2 Megatron there. I don't even know what that means.
Generation 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Say it again.
This is G2 Megatron?
Yeah.
G2, is it 2 Gs?
It's 2 Gs.
2 Gs? Okay. So, I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the cool toys that we saw and toys that we had. Do you remember the first comics-related toy that you had?
Yeah, I think it's probably the Mobat, the G.I. Joe tank. I got that when I was about... I guess I would have probably got it when I was about 3 or 4 years old. Probably a little young for it, looking back. But it was a nice tank. It was battery-powered. It had a cool action figure. And yeah,
who's the figure that came with that one?
I just lost my G.I. Joe cred. I can't
do it.
Yeah, I can't do it on the spot.
Busted.
Is it Thunder? I think it's Thunder that he comes with. Yeah, I think it's Thunder.
I like the cartoon, man. I'm not into the toys.
Yeah.
Mine was I had the Superpowers Robin. And I know I had the Batman, I know I had the Penguin, I had the Riddler. But that Robin was the one that I really loved. Like, Robin was my favorite when I was a little kid. Like, I wanted to be Robin. Like, Batman was my favorite character. And Robin gets to hang out with Batman. So,
that's
I loved Robin.
Very sweet.
I think a lot of kids want to be Robin when they're kids. Cause,
he's a kid.
Yeah, he's a kid. He's just like you.
You can be Robin.
Yeah, it's very easy to make a Robin costume if you have a yellow towel and some green dishwashing gloves and ride your bike around the neighborhood.
Yeah, Batman's an adult. He worked hard to get where he's at. Robin,
Robin, he's there immediately.
Less hard, but he's there.
Well, his parents died, but he got a new parent that was even cooler because his new parent was Batman. That's the magic of Robin.
You could say that.
So, we also found at the show, I almost bought a Robin at the show. I almost bought the Superpowers Robin, because there was one for like $8.
Yeah.
But it was kind of messed up, and also I don't need more toys in my house now that I'm getting the SH Figuarts.
I thought you were going to say I don't need more Robins.
I'm like Batman. I don't need another Robin. But we found this young lady right here. And this is something I had never heard of that Chad got and pointed out to me. And it's one of the funniest and I think best stories of G.I. Joe toys and G.I. Joe comics. Probably since the Wraith, who was introduced in the comics and then was made into an action figure, and his file card said that he cared about only 2 things. Remember what they are? Destruction.
And terror?
Chaos.
Chaos, that's it.
Chaos and destruction.
Chaos and destruction.
The only 2 things he cares about.
In the whole world.
Now, if you look close at this, you might think, oh, that's the Baroness.
Yeah.
That's Baroness Anastasia de Cobre. You're wrong. Chad, who is this?
That is Chameleon. That is the Baroness's half-sister.
Half-sister, also identical twin, because she had plastic surgery.
Because she had plastic surgery to look like the Baroness after the Baroness had plastic surgery to look different than she initially did.
That's right. I always forget that the Baroness gets plastic surgery in G.I. Joe 10.
Yeah. To look like
a sexy Baroness.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So, explain how the figure came about.
Well, the figure is a later era G.I. Joe figure. It's not part of the first Real American Hero line, which ran from 82 to 94. It's a later line where they did 2-packs, which were basically reissues of existing figures with new paint schemes. And she was included with a Cobra Commander figure, which essentially is the Cobra Commander Sonic Fighters Cobra Commander, but his Sonic pack is removed. And
and we all know the Sonic Fighters Cobra Commander, right? Everyone knows that reference.
Yeah, just Google it. And then of course, the Baroness was repackaged and repainted to be Chameleon, and they did this really awesome backstory to make Chameleon a brand new character. And for those who are familiar with Mike Costa's run on Cobra at IDW, or G.I. Joe Cobra, or the Cobra Files, whatever version you're familiar with, Chameleon is actually a character. Mike Costa used the file card as sort of the jumping off point for Chameleon and made her into a brand new character for that series.
Right, because all the file cards on the original G.I. Joes are, for lack of a better term, they're canonical. A lot of them were written by Larry Hama, the writer of the G.I. Joe comic, and a lot of them are weird. The one we always quote is Lady J's, which talks about her ability as a master of disguise by saying that she can squat down in any marketplace and with a basket of oranges and blend right in.
Yeah.
Which is a very specific skill to have.
What does that mean?
We talked about Wraith and Chaos and Destruction.
Right.
So all those file cards are source material for G.I. Joe. And that ended up coming back in the comics.
Yeah.
The Baroness having a half-sister who had plastic surgery to look just like the Baroness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he incorporates the whole thing. I think they're just half-sisters who happen to look an awful lot alike. But ultimately, it's the same character.
And it's weird when comics can build like that. It's weird when comics can build from those pieces of trivia. You see it a lot in superheroes that have been adapted to mass media, like stuff from the Batman TV show coming in, or stuff from the Batman movies, or the Superman movies. It's different to see it with toys, because a lot of times the toy comics are toy-driven. They're approved by Hasbro, or whoever has the license. I think the opposite of that would be Rom Space Knight, because Rom Space Knight was a toy comic that tied into a toy line that only had one thing.
Well, like US-1.
US-1.
It's very similar to that, in the sense that there's the thing that gets licensed, and Marvel builds on that thing, but the toy line lasts. I mean, Rom, there's only Rom, and it's here and gone. And then the series runs for, 75 issues and 4 annuals?
Yeah, it's 80 comics.
Yeah, it's a total of 80 comics when it's all said and done, which basically just expand on this one simple idea of this toy that eventually has nothing to do with essentially what the toy was about to start with.
And all the stuff, instead of keeping it relatively separate, because there have been a little bit of crossover between G.I. Joe and the Marvel Universe and Transformers and the Marvel Universe, but lines like Godzilla and Rom, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I mean,
those were
Transformers,
dropped,
obviously, we mentioned those, but
those were dropped right into the middle of the Marvel Universe. So you had Rom by Bill Mantlo for the entire 80 issues, where he brought back the Torpedo from the Golden Age. Rick Jones was in it, and I always say there's nothing more Marvel Comics than Rick Jones being your sidekick.
Well, and one of my favorite characters, Death's Head, is a character who originated.
Yes, he did just say one of my favorite characters, Death's Head. That was spoken.
Yeah. Anybody who loves Death's Head understands why. But the idea that Death's Head sort of originates as a bounty hunter in a Transformers UK comic, who then gets carried over to a Doctor Who comic, who then leaves him in a Fantastic Four comic, and then the next time we see Death's Head, he's in the Marvel Universe.
Characters take interesting paths, and it's always fun for us as readers, especially, to see the different kinds of path characters take to getting into comics. So I think that's all we're going to talk about today with toys. I think we're going to go see a movie in a little bit. I think we're going to go see Captain America 2. Going to hang out a little bit. Everybody, if you have any questions about what we've talked about, if you have any suggestions for a future episode of Here's the Thing, if you have any stuff that you would like to see me tackle in a future episode, send it to me on Twitter, @theISB. Leave a comment here or leave a comment on comicsalliance.com. Chad, where can everybody find you on Twitter?
I am just @Chad Bowers. It's pretty simple. And then I have a Tumblr, and all that stuff is connected. So just do one.
@Chad Bowers.
@Chad Bowers, yeah.
Thanks a lot, everybody. This has been Here's the Thing. I'm Chris Sims. This is Chad Bowers.
Thanks, guys.